Hi everyone and welcome to Beginners Yoga. Now, as you may have seen, this is an introduction to what Beginners Yoga is or what yoga is really in general. So I wanted to take a few minutes to kind of dispel some myths about yoga and also to help you understand the great benefits that it can gain from yoga. So first of all, the first thing to highlight with yoga is that you don't need to be flexible to practice yoga. That's one of the first things that people come to me and say, that they're not flexible to do yoga. Yoga's not about flexibility. It's not about strength. It's not about being able to touch your toes or stand on your head. It will teach you all those things and it will improve all those things, but it's not about that at all. The other thing to talk about is that we kind of assume that yoga's all the postures. So we see, the down dogs, the warriors, the stretching of the arms. And that's also quite a misconception. That's an element of yoga, but essentially isn't the whole thing of yoga. Yoga is a means for us to connect our mind, body and spirit. So let me clarify what that exactly means. So when we talk about our mind, it's our consciousness. So it's the emotions that we feel. It's how we interact with stress, with ourselves. Our body, so our physicality, our muscles, our strength, our flexibility. And then when we talk about spirit, it's essentially talking about what you are, who you are, what makes you you. And yoga gives you a time to kind of reflect on that. So once reflect on your feelings, once reflect on how you feel. That's how it helps us de-stress. And then also to greater connect with you, your wants, your needs, what you want to get out of life essentially. So all these amazing things can all be found within every single yoga practice. And really the key to yoga is breathing. In yoga we talk about breathing technique being the way that we unlock the body, the way that we unlock the mind. And that's the main thing that I want to show you today. So if you've never done yoga before, I want you to stay with us. Today's not going to be dynamic at all, so don't expect it to be too physical. But what I want you to do is really give yourself to the breathing. Really let your mind begin to drift and wander into the postures that we teach you. And just see at the end of it how it makes you feel. That's all I'm going to get you to do. So it's only going to be a very short practice, but give everything to it, just like you would if you were running, jumping, sprinting. Give all your effort into this. So first thing I want you to do is get comfy. Now I'm going to leave you for a few moments and kind of demonstrate the physicality, how physically strong yoga can make you. So I want you to sit into a posture we call Sukhasana, so easy pose. So it's a posture that we'd often start many of our classes with. So we have our heels nice, gently crossed. We can have palms first of all placed down onto the knees and we sit nice and tall. And then what I want you to do is let the shoulder blades sink down. Don't lift the chin, but try to push the crown of the head as high as we possibly can. Bring your lips together. I want you to close your eyes for a few moments. And I want you to begin to breathe, so lengthen breath as much as you can. Now, when we first begin to breathe, it's natural that we take very short, sharp breaths. And in yoga, what we often talk about is that one of the most important things in life, or the most important thing in life, is breathing. We can live for quite a few days without food, even days without water, and yet breath we can only live for moments without. And yet we don't understand the importance of breath. We kind of take it for granted. Now the reason why breath is so important is because we need that oxygen. Oxygen's our great healer. It's what causes all our tissues to heal, to repair. It's our great calmer, our great peace of mind, and brings us strength. So if we teach you how to take more of that oxygen into your body, we make you healthier and we make you happier. So that's what the importance of breath for us in yoga. So what I want you to now do is turn your palms facing up and then bring your index finger and thumb together. Relax our other three fingers. Shoulder blades sink down the spine. As we said, bring your lips together. And all I want you to do is try to slow your breathing down. I'm going to remain quiet for a few moments. I want you to keep your eyes closed. And then as you breathe, I want you to just notice how your breath lengthens, the in-breath and the out-breath. Try and make them as slow and as long as you possibly can. So keep your eyes closed for a few moments and just see how that feels. So we can breathe in, flow down into the belly. And then we breathe out, hollow the tummy and release the air. So very slowly breathe in. Very slowly breathe out. Very slowly breathe in. Very slowly breathe out. I want you to keep doing that just for a few more moments. try to keep your eyes closed. And just focus on that lengthening of breath. Remember the importance of breath. Okay, very slowly blink your eyes open. All right, sit tall. Now, hopefully, you're feeling a very different place to how you was just 2 minutes ago. And all we've done is taught you how to breathe a bit slower, that was it. So nothing specific. You haven't had to stand on your head, you haven't had to touch your toes. And yet, hopefully, the feeling you have now, you just feel that little bit calmer, that little bit more at peace. Now, in yoga, that's important because that's a way of teaching ourselves to take hold of our nervous system, take hold of our adrenal gland, the gland that gets stimulated by stress, by emotional stress, by work stress, by stress from family and pressures of bills and partners. We can physically take hold of that and tell it to calm down, tell it to relax. And within that moment, you understand really what yoga is. Yoga is a means to challenge us, but teach us to take control, which we can do, of our nervous system and calm us down. Now that's important because essentially it's our nervous system and the overproduction of stress which is what's making us ill now in today's society. It's the overworking of the adrenal gland producing hormones such as cortisol that destroy our tissue, that make us gain weight, that, as we said before, make us ill. So if we take control of the nervous system and we teach our body the tools and the methods for allowing that stress to be reduced, you stay stronger for longer, you stay healthier for longer, you're more disease resistant, and you cope with life stresses much better. So yoga's far more than stretching. Don't think of it as a flexibility, think of it as something that will actually change every single thing within your life, because it will, I promise you. Okay, right, sit here, final moment that I want you to sit here. I want you to close your eyes again and focus on that breath. But this time I kind of want you to think of how your body feels. For most of us, we're probably wriggling about by now and bending the back and moving from side to side, and it feels really uncomfy on the hips, the back, the shoulders. You can feel all that tension. And essentially, all I'm doing is getting you to sit up. So whatever you're doing to keep your body fit, strong and healthy outside of what we're doing now, outside of yoga, it's not making you strong enough to even sit up. So you might be able to lift all the heavy weights in the world, do all the squats, do all the runs, everything that you think is making you strong. But if you're struggling to sit up, how strong is it actually making you? Now in yoga, the postures that I will teach you over the course of some practices in different classes, and particularly today, will make your body and your spine so physically strong, you can stay here for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, and you don't feel the knee, you don't feel the back, you don't feel the shoulder. So the physicality that yoga brings you, the strength it brings you, is absolutely uncomparable. No weights, no amount of exercise, no amount of sprinting could possibly compare to the strength you'll get from yoga. I promise you that. So stick with us over these next few courses of yoga classes. Right, let's do something. Let's do some postures. So I want you to roll over onto knees. And let's stay with that focus of breath that we spoke about. So we're going to put both hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips, separate the fingertips. And I want you to let the spine fall all the way down, lift the bum. And then I want you to look forward towards me, and then look how I lift the chin and the chest. And as I do that and I expand the body and I open the lungs, that's where I take a breath in, because that's my opportunity to take more oxygen, more strength, more life force into my cells. So I breathe in as I look forward, and then as I breathe out, I ripple through the spine, push the chin into the chest and lift it as high as you can. So I breathe in, let the spine arch, drop all the way forward. And breathe out, chin into chest, separate the shoulder blades, push through the palms, lift the spine. Breathe in, let the spine fall all the way down, lift the chest. And then breathe out, chin into chest, push through the hands. Final time, breathe in, let the spine really arch and lift. And then breathe out, put that wave back through the spine. Okay, bring us back to a nice neutral spine. I want you to separate the knees to the width of the mat. Bring your toes together behind you. Let your hips fall over heels. Search your fingertips forward. So we're going to go into a posture called Balasana now, or child's pose, we often call this in the West. So I want you to just gently place the forehead down onto the mat. Separate the fingertips. And again, all I want you to do is close your eyes and then try to focus on that breath.
Make it as slow as we possibly can. Now, often we feel quite uncomfortable with these silences, and it's something that we naturally assume that we kind of feel we naturally feel uncomfortable with in the West, because we always want to fill those silences with distraction. We want our mind to drift and wander. But the real gift, the real challenge in yoga is to try and find peace. So rather than let your mind wander to what the kids are doing, what you've got to do for the rest of the day, bills, worry, stress, family life, what I want you to do is keep your eyes closed, bring your lips together and focus only on breath. Don't think of anything else. So I want you to breathe in as slowly as you possible, slower, 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 slower. And then breathe out as slowly as you can. Breathe in as slowly as possible. Breathe out as slowly as you can. Again, breathe in slow as possible. And breathe out. Okay, really good. Let's step both hands back underneath the shoulders and let's lift the hips back up. Really good. Okay, hips now sit directly over the knees. So we bring our knees back in. Palms of hands underneath the shoulders. Let's take us to another posture where we're going to try and have some balance. So focus on your right hand and your left foot, and as you breathe in, I want you to send those away from each other. Now again, we lose our balance a little bit, and we want to challenge your balance within yoga. So I want you to bring your lips together, focus on breath, try to make that breath as lengthened and as long as you possibly can. Try and lift the heel as high as we can, and lift the hand. So we feel all that strength right the way through the heel, through the bum, through the hip, all the way to the fingertips of the right hand. And then I want you to bend the elbow and bend the knee, let them touch, and reach as far forward as we can. Push through the heel, push through the hand, hold and pause. I want you to do that again. So bend the elbow and the knee, bring them together, and then reach forward and lengthen as much as we can. Okay, let's place the hand and the knee back down. Let's focus on your left hand, this time right foot. Breathe in, reach them forward. And again, send that heel as high as we can. Catch that balance for a moment, and don't worry if you feel unbalanced and we're dropping to one side. That's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. But you really focus on that breath and try and bring your body back to a place of balance. Bend the knee and the elbow, let them touch, and then send them forward, reach, search, lengthen. And again, bend the elbow, knee and elbow touch, and then search, reach, and lengthen, hold. Bend the elbow and the knee, let them touch, search, lengthen, hold for a moment. Then bring the hand and the knee back down. Okay, final posture I'm going to teach you today. It's going to be a little bit more physical. Separate the fingertips, curl the toes behind us, take a breath in. And then as we breathe out, we're going to roll over toes into downward facing dogs. This is kind of one of those classic postures that you often see that most people associate with yoga. So we're going to roll over onto our heels, separate the fingertips, push through the palms, try to send the heels down so that keep the back nice and straight. Now don't worry if it's your first time and you're really humping the spine. What I want you to do is just stay here, bend the knees just a little bit, and then push the floor away. So you're sending your hips as high as you can. And then, in amongst all this challenge, when your body feels a little bit stressed, a little bit tight, a little bit challenged, I want you to close your eyes. And for the final time, try to find that slow breath. It'll be much more difficult to do, so it'll be much more challenging to do now. So breathe. So as slowly as you can in, and as slowly as you can out. Slowly as you can in, slowly as you can out. Let's take 4 more breaths. I know you can feel that challenge in your shoulders, in your hips. Push through the hands, send your hips even higher and breathe. Keep the eyes closed, lengthen the breath. Okay, lower down to knees. And let's cross over heels. Really good. Okay. So, well done. That's our introduction into yoga almost finished with.
So I want to just recap on a few things that hopefully the postures that we did today demonstrated. So one, we only had a few moments of focusing on breath and how breath made you feel, but hopefully just from maybe 30 seconds, 60 seconds of breath, you felt more calm and more at peace. And when I say to my students that that's the most important thing that they can do, more important than running, more important than any sort of exercise that they could possibly do to make themselves healthy, the natural reaction is, how can that possibly be better than me running and getting sweaty? Well, it is. The biggest cause of all illnesses, the biggest cause of early death, the biggest cause of cancers, of diseases in this country, or throughout the world really, is the influx and the stress that's on our body. So when we get ill, it's because our body's out of balance. We get worse because our bodies are so stressed. We spend our entire lives stressed from work, from family, from the pressures of modern life, from bills. So the one thing that can instantly make us happier and healthier is helping reduce that stress. Exercise doesn't necessarily do that. It can do, but doesn't necessarily do that. Yoga instantly does that. So just from breathing, just from feeling calmer, you get healthier, which means that you get happier, you get stronger. Everything else in your life gets better just from breathing, just from practicing yoga. So don't underestimate the effects that yoga can have. Some practices will be very challenging that we're going to take you through. Some will be much less dynamic and much less physical. All will have amazing benefits. All will help you reduce your stress levels, become much stronger, much healthier. So join us. Thanks.